Hello, God bless you. Happy Easter to everyone out there. What does Christ says about marriage? In the book of Ephesians, chapter 5, verse 25, it says, "Husbands, love your wives, even as Christ loved the church and gave himself up for it." Christ also let us to know that our spouse is an indispensable help by understanding the connection that God wants us to have in marriage. Looking back at the first reference in the Bible, in the book of Genesis, chapter 2, verse 18, God says it is not good for a man to be alone, so he make a suitable helper for him. In the Bible, God created an helper for Adam. And that word helper actually means a partner, someone that you turn to for protection, for rescue, and soothing. The Bible says that this person is someone that you turn to whenever you need help, that your comforter, your rescuer, and your supporter. God says we should love one another by maximizing positive affection. In the book of Mark chapter 12 verse 29, Jesus commanded the greatest commandment that we should love God with all our hearts, all our mind, and all our soul. This is a commitment and something that we get connected to, obviously connected to in showing serious commitment to it. And he also went on to say that the second commandment is to love your neighbor and love obviously. When couples love each other, they must be obvious in their love. They must be committed in their love. They must be obvious in their love. They must be committed in their love. You can't say you love and you are not obvious in the love that you said you love. Just like Jesus Christ was obvious in the love that he loved the church. Yes, husband saying, I love my wife, but I don't want her to know that I love her so that she will not start misbehaving and all that and all that. It doesn't make any sense. If you love, you must be obvious and be committed in your love. The more someone senses and know that you love them, the better off the person will be. God wants us to regulate conflict constructively. Conflict is inevitable in marriage. We disagree with our spouse, but what we do with conflicts, it what makes the difference. As couples, do we allow conflict to build up our connections, or do we allow conflict to tear our connections down? Every spouse should learn to focus together on how to build their connections, on how to build their bonds. They should not allow selfishness to grow more conflict around them or around their marriage. Couples need to move from thinking about themselves, that is selfishness, and start thinking about the relationship, the connection, the bond between the two of them. In the time of conflict in marriage, each other need to focus on how to build connections and build their bonds and relationship, not thinking about themselves, myself, I-ness, we-ness. No, it's not I-ness, it's now we-ness. Christ wants us to avoid destructive escalative pattern, avoiding escalative of destructive pattern, destructive escalative pattern. Every couples need to build up a pattern for their conflict, and if conflict escalate, yes, it is not really good. If conflict escalate without reaching its constructive solution, it is not very good in marriage. Taking a break in the moment of conflict can be very healthy in marriage. Take a break and let emotion calm down can be very healthy in marriage. The problem in conflict become worse when partners began to interpret and start to label each other with a negative light. For instance, interpreting each other in a negative way, like you are bad, you are this. This also increase the bad side of the conflict, the worst side of the conflict. Yes, so There must be no negative interpretation as spouse. There must be no negative interpretation and no negative labeling of each other in marriage in order to calm down the emotion in conflict. And also during conflict, you must not interpret your partner wrongly in a negative way. Yes, the next thing God wants us to do in marriage is to look at the foundational values and traits in marriage. One of the Christian values in marriage, is faithfulness. God wants us to be holy. He created us to be holy. His faithfulness in marriage, vulnerability, humility, and unselfishness. Yes, these are all the ways that couples can come together and live a biblical marital life. And I pray may God help us, lead us to sanctification as we develop these Christian values in our marriages to become better husbands and better wives. Go for it. We don't have forever. We only have one life to live, and that one life is enough if we live it well. Know that every marriage can be better. That is, if only husbands learn to love their wives as Christ loved the church and give himself up for her. God bless you as you do so. I remain Reverend Mrs. Esther Sunday Eto. God bless you and happy Easter.